Hi, members. I'm Karen. I'm one of your trusted board members and a representative tonight from the High Holiday Planning Committee. I am going to be interviewing Rabbi Joe because we have so many questions as a board and you as the members in terms of what's happening this high holiday season. Rabbi Joe is going to give us the 2020 view midway through on what it looks like to come to shul this September. And we're also going to answer some of the commonly asked questions that we've, as a board, been encountering when we've been calling you to find out how you're doing and find out what you're thinking about for the high holidays. So let's hear from Rabbi Joe.
Karen, thanks so much for taking the time to do this and for your time on the board and everybody on the board, especially for those who have given a lot of thought and careful reflection to how to bring us back to shul safely as can possibly be, and also to set up the high holidays with everybody's safety and well-being in mind. I just want to say by way of introduction that our goal for this high holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and moving forward from there, really is the same thing that it's been every year. We want to give every member of our dear Kehillah the most special and touching and moving and uplifting and inspiring high holiday season that we possibly can. That's what we want to do last year and the year before and this year and next year. This particular year, as you know, we have a few limitations. We do, believe it or not. Let me explain to you what they are. We're limited in terms of how many people we can allow in the building safely at one time. We're going to have to wear masks. We have to keep track of who's in the building, scrupulous care, because in the very unlikely possibility that there's some transmission, we want to be able to contact people. So contact tracing is very important. So you know how seriously we take Jewish law and tradition and shul, and all the authorities say that a person's health is even more of paramount concern. So while we would love to welcome everybody to shul, as we do, and keep the doors wide open, this year, in the interest of people's health and safety and well-being, we're going to have a few limitations on the way we do our high holiday programming that are going to affect all of us a little bit, but hopefully we'll stick together and we'll, I wanted to say hand in hand, but hands 6 feet apart away from the next person's hand. We'll get through this together, and it'll be as good or better than we even think it's going to be. This time next year, we'll all be back to shul the way we like it to be.
Well, thank you for that setting of the tone. I think those are good goals to have and definitely very, very possible to achieve. So I'm going to start with a few questions from members that are easy to answer, and a few questions in, we'll get into the meat and potatoes of actually coming to shul and what that will look like and what steps that requires.
Sounds
but
good.
First, for some of the families who don't think they'll be coming to shul,
yeah.
One question, why don't I start with my own personal question? So someone who has a young family, what events are going to be available for someone who wants to bring their whole crew?
Yeah, okay, good question. So last year, we finally hit our stride of a great kids program. Alan and the office really put in a lot of effort to bringing together a multifaceted program for both days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur that all the reviews I heard said it was really great. And we thought, oh, fantastic. Now we have the recipe. We'll just run it again. Okay, so it turns out this year that for a number of reasons, space and safety considerations being among them, we're not going to be able to offer the same kind of all-morning kids program that we had last year. Again, hopefully next year. We haven't thrown out the recipe. This year, what we're going to do is gather people together with kids under Bar and Bat Mitzvah at the park at Bayview in York Mills on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. So Sunday afternoon, late in the afternoon, probably in the neighborhood of 5:15, somewhere in there. We will have the shofar blown. So anybody who didn't get a chance to hear the shofar that day, the kids, the parents even, we will have the chance to fulfill the mitzvah of shofar. Then we'll have some activities, we'll have some stories, we'll have some treats. We'll be able to see each other, which is one of the main things, just to feel together. We will ask everybody to wear masks, and we'll do our best to maintain social distancing, even though we're outside. But we do want to offer that chance for people to come together. So again, while we're not going to have an opportunity for kids under bar and bat mitzvah to come to shul during services this year, which pains us greatly because it's very important, we're going to try to support all the parents and caregivers of the kids as much as we can with sending out some resources, and also, again, getting together on the second day afternoon.
Okay, and I thought of another one that you didn't mention, which was, is there a lot of echo? Which was, we might tune in for the Zoom Kol Nidre before we do whatever family things we decide to do. So there's another one right there.
Yes.
What if, not because of young kids, but just in general, I decide I don't want to come to shul. It's just not the right health or personal choice for me.
So I'm talking to a lot, trying to talk to as many people as I can before and in the course of the holidays. So I'm telling everybody we have a 1-year special. This 1 year only, no guilt, no arm twisting. Don't feel bad if you can't come. It's really okay this year, given the health situation, if people want to stay home. Now, it's not the same as being in shul. It's not as much fun. You don't see your friends. But all of us have to keep our health concerns in the balance of what we would like to do and what's really the prudent thing to do. So I would encourage anyone who even has a doubt. It doesn't have to be a certain thing. It's not that your doctor has to tell you must stay home, which some people's doctors are telling them. If you even have a doubt, it's better this year to stay at home. God hears our prayers in every language from every place they've ever come from. There's no reason to think that your place on Bathurst or Bayview or Toronto or wherever it is, your prayers won't be heard and accepted with mercy and with love. So wherever we wind up davening, it's going to be good. But again, if someone has even a doubt about whether or not to come to shul, we are going to be careful, as I say, with contact tracing, with maintaining social distance. We're going to be running 2 minyanim upstairs and downstairs. I'll talk a little bit about that. And we are going to make sure that we are keeping at minimum, if not exceeding, all of the provincial requirements for houses of worship. But again, some people will have hesitation. And we want to encourage them really to think about their health and to not only stay home, but to feel good about staying home. So with that in mind, we're sending out a guide. It should be in the mail, hopefully this week. You and I are talking on Wednesday afternoon, September 2nd. Hopefully within the next day or two, there will go out a full brochure about how to daven on your own, just like we did for Shavuot, page-by-page guide to the Machzor, and also some sort of orienting thoughts about what we're doing in this time of year. We will have, hopefully, plenty of resources on the website for people to look at beforehand. Again, like we did for Shavuot, some talks from rabbis, some links of interesting classes and discussions and so on. And we are doing a high holiday review for 3 or 4 minutes every morning, which is available for you to look at any time of the day, that has the shofar at the end for the whole month of Elul. So there's a lot of things out there to take advantage of. And that's just our shul. I mean, there's a whole world of Jewish experiences and learning opportunities out there on the web, and we try to help people find those as best we can.
Okay, so we talked about people who aren't coming to shul, who are not coming to shul. Now I'm going to start to think about the people who are coming to shul. I have a question from one of the members. I require a walking aid and I can't manage the stairs. Can I expect to be seated somewhere accessible?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's an important question. We've taken a lot of strides in the last couple of years to make the shul more accessible. The Shabbat compliant elevator will be running for the length of services. So that's available for people to get upstairs to downstairs without having to press any buttons. It's every 90 seconds. Also, to be able to use the washroom downstairs, it's going to be there. There will be some accessible seating also on the main floor. We have to work out the seating arrangement yet, but I certainly hope that nobody would feel they have to stay away from shul because it's inaccessible now. We're trying to make it as accessible as we can for everyone.
I think it's one of the most accessible buildings because it's small. And so that's okay. Every time I start to speak, there's a big echo for me. So I just want to make sure it's okay for everyone else.
Not hearing anything on this end, but.
Perfect. I'll just ignore it.
Okay.
So now I think you need to just clarify. I'm a person now, I'm one of the members. I'm ready to come to shul, Rabbi Joe. Sign me up, send
Fantastic.
me a ticket, or send me a link. What do I do now?
Karen, if you're that enthusiastic, you probably already are signed up. So in the middle of the summer, we took the entire membership list and we sent out an email, and a lot of people responded that they would like to come to shul, either for Shabbat or for the high holidays or both. Some people said they didn't feel comfortable. Some people said they would have to wait and see how things played out. The people that we didn't hear from, we made an attempt, at least one attempt, if not two or three, thanks to members of the board who volunteered their time to contact everybody by email, by phone, however we could get in touch with people. So again, we got a lot of responses there. Also, some people said they didn't feel that it was in their own best health interest, which again, we understand and it's fine. And we encourage people to take that into account. Some people said they would like to come. Some members of their family, yes. Some people weren't comfortable. So we believe we have a number of people who have expressed interest who want to come to shul that we're going to be able to accommodate. Within the next day or two, tickets should be mailed to all those people that we contacted or heard from, or we got the sense that they would be interested. Hopefully by a week from now, in other words, by next Wednesday or so, people should receive their tickets in the mail.
So they're going to be so excited to have paper tickets, Rabbi Joe. So tell me though, I'm receiving my tickets, but it's this year, not last year. What's going to be different about that package?
This year is going to be a little bit different because we need to accomplish a number of things to be responsible with what the province and with what good health sense asks of us in terms of taking care of people's, in terms of trying to minimize even the potential spread of COVID. We have to have everybody certify that they have not been in contact knowingly with anybody who's had the disease. They haven't traveled out of Canada in the last 14 years. They don't have any symptoms, runny nose, and so on. And we also need to keep track of who's in the building, again, as we said before, for contact tracing. So what happened last year is that people would bring their tickets and they would show the guard their ticket from this year and they would come right in. Some other people brought their ticket from last year or the year before and said, here's my ticket, and the guard let them in. Some people said, I forgot my ticket, I'm on the list, it's okay, and the guard didn't let them in, had a checklist and all that. The reality this year, given the situation, is that the guards are and the police are going to have very strict instructions not to allow anyone to enter the building unless they have a ticket. So everyone will have to do whatever it takes to remember to bring those tickets with them, because you'll have a ticket for, let's say, day one Rosh Hashanah, Shabbat morning, September 19th, I think it is. You'll bring that card, and when you leave that card with the guard or in the box that's at the door, you'll be certifying that you agree to uphold all the regulations in the building of keeping the mask on, using hand sanitizer, keeping social distancing, that you have not been exposed to the sickness knowingly in the last 14 days or so, and then we'll be able to know exactly who's in the building so we can contact this. So again, the one difference this year that's going to impact a lot of people is if people don't have their tickets, they'll have to go back and get them in order if they want to come into the building. We'd like to relax, but that's going to be important.
So I have to have my ticket for this year.
Yeah.
And it has to be my ticket, and it has to be the right ticket for the right part of the service. So whether it's Erev Rosh Hashanah or the first morning of Rosh Hashanah or the next evening. And if I told the board member when we chatted this summer that I was thinking of coming but would likely only come Kol Nidre and one of the Rosh Hashanah services, I'm still going to get a whole package that you're describing.
That's right. That's right.
Can you just explain how the previous Shabbat online questionnaire, which was asking us about our health, you were talking about how that's it sounds to me like that's not happening for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So can you just clarify that a little bit?
It's happening just in a different way. We've been open now for Shabbat, I think, for 4 weeks in a row, and people have come and enjoyed. Again, hasn't been exactly the same, but we're doing our best. Between Wednesday night and Thursday night, is that right? Or Thursday and Thursday morning? There's a 24-hour period where you go online, you enter your name if it's not auto-filled there, and you certify that you're a member of the shul. You click a little box, and that you're healthy, you don't have any symptoms, no cough, no runny nose, no any of the other symptoms, that you haven't been exposed, as far as you know, to anyone that's had the sickness, that you've been in the country for the last 14 days. And we asked you where you'd like to sit in the men's section, the women's section, and a couple of other questions. So if someone successfully answered all those questions, that generated an email response to them, and they were put on a list which the security guard checked everybody. So we're going to ask all those questions, but in a different way. When you're sent the tickets, it's going to have one sheet that says, when I submit this ticket, when I enter the building, when I surrender this ticket, it's going to indicate that I haven't had symptoms, haven't been out of the country, agreed to wear a mask, agreed to, if I have any symptoms, that I'll leave the building right away, and so on. So we're asking the same questions. We're keeping track of people. We want to know who's in the building for what services. We're just going to do it in a slightly different way through leaving those tickets at the front when you come. Does that clarify?
Totally. And I'm thinking you're going to keep my ticket. The security guard's going to keep my ticket from that particular event I came, which signifies I was there, so that if someone else 2 weeks later gets sick and the public health department wants to contact anyone that was there on Friday evening of Rosh Hashanah, you can call me.
Exactly.
Okay. So maybe we'll go to another question from members, just as we're walking our heads through the synagogue,
okay.
In a one-way fashion and physically distanced walking through.
Of course, yes.
But also figuratively. I would like to sit in this main sanctuary. Can that be accommodated?
Yeah, absolutely be accommodated. We're not going to be able to guarantee anybody any seating, because it's going to be first come, first served. So we're as needed. We're going to run 2 minyanim with our 2 wonderful chazanim. Chazan Goldman and Chazan Saperman are going to be available on hand to lead our prayers, to be our emissaries in prayer, to guide our prayers where they need to go. So we'll start in the main sanctuary. And when there's no more seating available, the seating capacity is going to be in the neighborhood of 70 people, with a rough, almost proportional, perfectly proportional balance between men and women. When there isn't any more seating available there, so we will start the second minyan in the Davidson Social Hall. And we'll have seating there, we'll have a mechitza, we'll have a chazan, we'll have sifrei Torah, we'll have Torah reading if necessary. So it does depend a little bit on who shows up when. So one thing to remember is that it is first come, first serve. So the early bird gets the seat, number one. And number two, it is important to mention that in collaboration with the Chazanim, I'm going to be making some heavy edits to the service. This is probably the answer to a lot of people's prayers from last year and before. Services are going to be considerably shorter than they have been in years past. This is also a one-year special offer. Next year, we're right back in business from page 1 all the way till the end. And of course, people will always come for the part that they feel most connected to. But we are going to abbreviate the services this year, and we're going to start well into the introductory prayers. So we're gonna be saying at home most of the introductory prayers that take up at least 3/4 of an hour in the beginning. We're going to be abbreviating, leaving out some of the songs, some of the tunes that we like in the repetition of the Amida. I'm very disappointed to say that in health interest, we're not going to have our wonderful choir, which is always a highlight of our services. We are discouraged from singing out loud, so I'm going to hum. I encourage everybody to hum those tunes along with me. Hopefully that's a safe way to get the tunes there. But again, the services are going to be considerably shorter. In the past, we'll be starting later than we usually do, and we'll be ending earlier than we usually do. So I wouldn't want anybody to come and say, hey, how come everybody's walking out of the shul when I'm just getting here? So come for as much as you can, come for as much as you like, but please know it is going to be shorter, and we are going to be in the next day or two emailing out and then hard mailing out a real schedule of services with times so that people will be able to plan accordingly.
Okay. So I'm trying to think if you want to keep walking me through. How about, so the services are over. How can I be guaranteed that I'm going to leave in a safe fashion?
There's going to be people assigned to both the upstairs and the downstairs minyan that are going to be dismissing people, if you will, by section. So what we've been doing on Shabbat mornings is first the women's section leaves, and we give a couple minutes for people to make their way out of the foyer, out of the building, and then one part of the men's section, then the other part of the men's section. So if you want to prepare for this, if you want to get in on the drill, best thing to do, come to Shabbat morning services, and you'll be in the groove of dismissal by section. So we'll be doing that both upstairs and downstairs, and doing our very best to make sure that there's not bottlenecking and there's not a big rush of people leaving at the very end of services. It happens to be, on occasion, some people will drift out even before the formal end of services, so that'll actually help in managing the crowds.
I think it was really clear to hear how it will work to come to shul during any of the services during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And it seems actually a lot simpler hearing it from you out loud than hashing it out on the board. So I hope this was clear for the members as well. Yeah. I guess I just wanted to add before we move on to a few more questions that all of our ins and outs about the services have been shaped by the COVID policy developed by the board, which has been shaped by Toronto and Ontario Public Health and CORE or OU, and Kol HaKavod, which is a Kol HaKovid, which is a Toronto-based public health with Judaism in mind type group, making recommendations for synagogues. And so that if one does feel that they are willing and ready and safe to come to a physical and group setting, that this has been planned in that way with all of the policies in mind. And those are really simple and quite a bit, maybe 2 or 3. It's the masks, it's the hand hygienes, and then the physical spacing, which was all on the shul. So we've got the masks and the hand hygiene, that's all on our members. Right. And we're looking to everyone to see our hand sanitizing stations, as well as bring or use your own, often as often as you touch your face, as well as wearing your mask properly, and then leave it to us to ensure that the physical space is distanced. Should we turn it to a few more questions?
Do we touch enough on shofar already? We're going to come back to that later.
Well, then why don't you
underscore that just a little bit now?
I'm hearing a lot of buzz in social media, the news, and amongst my friends. Is it safe to blow a shofar? And is it happening at KST?
Good questions all. So we would hope that anything that God asks of us to do in terms of a mitzvah is as safe and good for our bodies as it is for our souls. And we would hope shofar is that way also. So here's the thing. The main mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah is to hear the shofar. And that applies this year only on Sunday, because on Shabbat we don't blow the shofar. So the davening is always good wherever it is, and any day of the year. Shofar is particular and unique to Rosh Hashanah, even though we customarily blow it each day in Elul leading up to it, and we're doing that online. So blowing of the shofar we're going to do during the services, as we usually do. We usually make a lot of shofar sounds at the end, 40 extra ones at the end of davening. We're going to do that outside this year. For anybody who wants to hear the total number of shofar sounds that's become customary, 100 altogether. So we're going to do 2 sets of 30 inside, and then we'll do the other 40 outside. That's also going to give a chance for people who would love to come to shul and hear the shofar, but don't want to be inside shul, don't want to wear a mask, maybe don't want to sit on a chair, even 6 feet away from someone else, we're going to have the opportunity at about, hopefully, 12:45 on Sunday, or there, very close thereabouts. For anyone who wants to come and stand in the parking lot, or down the driveway to the shul, or even out front, we'll see how the crowd fans itself out, to hear the shofar then. That'll be an opportunity. We're also going to blow shofar in the park at the corner of Bayview and York Mills at about 6 o'clock on our way to Tashlich. And there's a project underway to connect people with shofar blowings in their neighborhood. There's going to be a lot of people who know how to blow shofar standing out on street corners all over Toronto, really all over the world, on Sunday, making it possible for anybody to hear the shofar who wants. Hopefully nobody who wants will be left behind. Now, I mentioned the name of the website. Do you remember what it was? I forgot. Here we go, Shofar on the Corner. So we'll put that in the bulletin, but take a look at shofaronthecorner.com and check out some locations, see where we already know shofar is being blown. And if you can't get to shul, maybe you can get to one of those. And if that's not possible, please let us know in the shul as quickly as possible. There's a network of people all over town through Bikur Cholim, through Chabad Youth Organization. People want to help other people hear the shofar. So we will do our best to make sure that everybody who we know about who wants to hear the shofar can accomplish that.
Okay. You know what? All the questions that were at the bottom that we were planning to answer at the end have been answered.
What do you know?
Are there any questions that you've come across in talking to people that you think we may not have answered?
I think they're really, rather than specific questions, they're just general questions about people want to know, how can I make this Rosh Hashanah when I might not be able to come to shul? I don't feel comfortable for health reasons coming to shul. So what can I do? So what I would say is ask us for help in the office. Get in touch with me. Get in touch with Alan. Read through the literature that we're printing up and sending out, so people will have a hard copy in their hands. Since, as I mentioned, to our sorrow, we're not going to have our beautiful choir. We have some of our members putting together a whole collection of YouTube links of all of our KST tunes that other choirs around the world have sung and recorded. So you'll be able to hear some of those tunes and put yourself in the high holiday mood. As a 1-year exclusive, not setting a precedent, not changing the way we look at things, we were given special rabbinic permission from a reputable authority to broadcast the very beginning of Kol Nidre services on Zoom. So we're going to send out a link, and a few minutes before we would normally start Kol Nidre, we're going to Zoomcast or broadcast, whatever the phrase is, the very beginning of Kol Nidre service from the shul. We're then going to stop the Zoom so that it's still, people have a chance to put away their phone or put away their computer before Yom Kippur starts. But again, we want as many people to feel as connected to each other and to our community and to God as they possibly can while they are looking after their health. So if anybody was thinking, how am I not going to go to Kol Nidre? And they were going to push themselves to come, hopefully this will give them a good feeling about staying where it's safe and still knowing that we're thinking of them and they're thinking of us.
And that makes me think there's going to be so much different about this holiday, and we could focus on that difference and be sad about it. But if we reflect on, what is it about shul that makes us feel like that's what Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are about, whether it's, hearing the rabbi's drasha and then logging on ahead of time and listening to that, or reading your booklet during the holiday. If it's the music, then it's, listening to some of the music ahead of time and having those songs in our head when we look at the machzor. Or if it's the togetherness, then hopefully there can be some togetherness. Or if it's hearing the shofar, then, there's so many ways to do that. And if we can focus instead on the ways that it will be the same than the ways that it will be different, then it maybe won't feel so disorienting, right?
It's good. Very well put. Yeah.
Okay.
So think about the good. And you did bring up an important point about sermons. We were looking to trim down the service times. What better to do than to cut out the sermons? So those are all going to be available for everybody to look at before the holidays. They'll all be on our website. If anybody has trouble getting on the website or is not comfortable using the web, we have a number of volunteers in Shul who will help people figure out how to use their phone or their iPad or their computer to get on the web. And then they can join all of our classes and all our discussions. You'll be able to hear all of the talks ahead of time.
Great. Well, thank you so much for answering all the members' questions today. And I look forward to seeing you, I think, the next Zoom opportunity I have.
Karen, this is great. Thanks a lot for organizing. Okay, there you have it. Okay, have a happy and healthy and sweet new year. And whether we're in Shul or not, we'll all be together. And we're all going to get through this together. And please God, we should all be inscribed and sealed in the book of life for good health and happiness and only good things for all of us and those we love.
Thanks, Rabbi Joe. Good night.
Hey, see you, Karen. Take care. Bye-bye.